I believe you guys can see my screen now. So we can start now. CIT353, Introduction to Human-Computer Interaction. I want to believe that we've done something on this course before. Yes, we've done something, I remember. The HCI, we talk about some things under it, where we mentioned group of 5 and something like that. Let's see where we stop so we can start from that same place. Okay. Mm, mm, like we've done this. We've not done this one. Are you sure we've done any class on this course? I'm not sure. It's like the time we're supposed to have it last week. That was when we
We've
had.
not done any course on this.
Yes,
We've
this is the
not done
first time because everything
any,
is just
yeah,
strange to
we've not
me.
done any course on this.
All right. So let's start. We'll start from the beginning then. So, human computer interaction. From the name, we already know what we're expecting. Like we want to study relationship. That is the basic thing we can just say about this course. We are trying to study relationship. Relationship between who and who. Between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Let's say the computer is the boyfriend and the human the girlfriend. We don't know. Maybe the computer will act as the girlfriend and the man will act as the boyfriend. So it's going to require a lot of things for these two people to blend together. You know, if it's just okay, let me ask you this general question before we go. What are the things you can say about human to human relationship? Like when a man is dating a woman, that is the first thing we should know. We cannot talk about machine dating a man. What are the things that will happen? What are the things we can study about the relationship of man with machine? Yes, I want someone to say something. I know you guys are experts, but you will not talk now. What can we say about
What I can say about human to human relationship is, I can put it in terms of sharing ideas, socializing, um,
sharing your experience, socializing? Okay, now
like,
that makes sense.
sharing experiences.
We should know that the human computer interaction will involve a lot of things between the human and the computer. We are doing two things now. We are both studying human, studying computer, then seeing the way a machine and a human can blend together. That is what we are trying to do now. How a machine and the human, how they can blend together. So the introduction to this unit says that excuse me, I'm coming. I'm trying to remind people, but they will now come next class. Now I'm saying I was not in the last class. Now, introduction. The unit introduces you to the basic concept of human-computer interaction and the theories driving them. It is meant as an overview towards appreciating the early efforts made to improve upon human-computer interaction. It therefore discusses the history and the paradigm shift. Yes, the paradigm shift. It is meant to provide a general background for the understanding and design of human-computer interaction. That is all we are to do in this unit. So at the end of this unit, there are some things we should know to prove that we have gone through this unit. One of them is we should be able to understand the concept of human-computer interaction, how it works. We should be able to express the goals of human-computer interaction, research, and study. Why do we need to research into human-computer interaction? Why is it a topic worth researching on, worth studying? We'll check that. Then we should be able to explain human-computer interaction techniques, which means there are some techniques involved in human-computer interaction. And lastly, we should be able to understand the history and the paradigms of human-computer interaction. So let's start with some definitions so that we even know what is this human-computer interaction. What's the picture? Let's see the picture clearly before we start talking about the techniques, the history, or blah, blah, blah. What does it mean to start with? What is HCI? Human-computer interaction. That is the short form, HCI. The following definition is given by the Association of Computing Machinery. Very important. Not only knowing the definition, but we should know who gave the definition. By this definition, or this definition we are going to take now, was given by, it's only God that will help us. Why is it always like this? During our own class, when I was having class for the 100 level now, in the afternoon, nothing was happening. It's when it gets to our own in the night like this, we always have issue. These people should play so, Abby. All right, so let's go back to the definition. That was what we are trying to take. I would say that this definition was given by ACM, that is Association for Computing Machinery. What did they say about HCI, that is human-computer interaction? What is the definition given by ACM? The definition goes thus: human-computer interaction is a discipline concerned with the design, evaluation, and no, we've done this class. You guys should try to remember. We've done this definition before. We have one class on this particular course. I think we even talked about the goals, where to start from research. I remember it was one guy that read the goals that night, rather.
I'm not sure. We've not done any class.
We've done it, but let's just start again from here. Okay, so the human computer interaction is a discipline. That is the first thing. And its concern is design, evaluation, and implementation of interactive computing systems for human use, and with the study of major phenomena surrounding them. That is the whole idea of human-computer interaction. The first thing we have to digest is that it is a discipline, just like science, arts, and the rest of them. On its own is a discipline. And what that discipline deals with or studies is the design and evaluation, and also the implementation. First of all, designing convenient interactive computing systems. Not only designing them, evaluating them, and finally implementing them for human use. So designing not only a computer, but interactive computers or interactive computing systems. Human-computer interaction is a discipline concerned with the design, evaluation, and implementation of interactive computing system for human use. And also it studies the phenomena that surrounds the systems. Now, that is the definition. Because of the interaction that occurs between users and computers at the interface of software and hardware, such as between computer peripherals and large-scale mechanical systems in aircraft and power plants. Human computer interaction is the study of that interaction between people, otherwise called users, and computers. So if you're asked in an exam, the most basic definition you should remember, you don't need to cram what is written here. Just know that HCI is the interaction between computers, which are machines, and human beings, which are the users. Once you remember that, you already know the meaning of HCI. The interactivity between the users, which are humans, and the machine itself, which is the computer. So that is the basic knowledge you should have, that HCI means the interaction between the users, which we call humans, and the machine itself, which is the computer. So let's take the overview. It says that since human computer interaction studies a human and a machine in conjunction. I've mentioned that from the introduction to this class, that once we hear the name, something will come to your mind, that what this course will be about will be to study two different things: study human being, study computer, and how they relate. That was why I was asking you, that it's just like you want to study relationship, just like studying the relationship between a man and a woman. That's what we want to do in this course. We want to study relationship, and you know how tough, how deep relationship can be. So we just have to study a whole lot, and that's why the material is very long, because it's going to talk about several things in human-computer relationships. So it draws from supporting knowledge on both the machine and the human side. What they're just trying to say in the overview is that in order for us to have an accurate study of this course, we need knowledge from both people in the human field, people that study human behaviors like psychology, like philosophy, and people in the engineering or the science department that study computers and development of machines. That's what they're trying to say here. That since the HCI, anytime I use HCI in this course, we're talking of human-computer interaction. Since it deals with two people or two entities, let's say, one is human, the other is machine. In order to study it perfectly, we will definitely need the knowledge of other disciplines, like the discipline that study humanities and the discipline that study computing or machines. So I hope we are understanding it. Are you guys with me?
Very well.
All right, so let's move on. So on the machine side, now we said that we'll be studying two things: the human side, the machine side. That is what will give us a perfect study of HCI, human-computer interaction. Now, what are we going to study on the human side? Sorry, on the machine side. Talking about the machine side, we need to talk about the techniques in computer graphics. You know that one of the major things the human relate with on the machine is the interface, the graphics, what they are seeing on the screen. So we need to study the computer graphics on the part of the machine. We need to study operating systems: iOS, Android, Linux, MS Word, MS, Microsoft Word. Word is not there, Microsoft. So, programming languages, which is what the machine operates by. The computer is based on programs that have been programmed by programmers. So, you need to learn programming language in order, if human will relate to computer and computer only understand machine language, it means that we need to study programming language, which is the language of interaction between human and the computer. Programmers are the ones that are most concerned with this, because they want to communicate with the computer in the language the computer understands. So there will be a need on the part of the machine. We said we are studying two things in this course: the human and the machine, and then the collection of the two of them. So on the machine part, one important thing to study is the machine language, which is the programming languages that we have. And of course, we'll talk about the development environment for the machine. That is on the machine side. So in order to have a very perfect knowledge of this course, we need to study some things on the part of the computer. Since it is human, computer, two things combined together, interaction, how they interact. So we need to study on the part of the machine the following things. What are we going to study on the part of machine as we go through this material? We will study computer graphics. We will study operating systems. Uh, We'll study programming languages, which is the means of communication between the two of them, and we'll study the development environment of the systems. Now, on the part of the humans, don't forget that this course is going to be like call and response. We'll talk on human, we'll talk on machine, we'll connect them together, and so on and so forth. So, on the part of the the human, what do we need to study on the part of the human? Already, it may be easy for you to understand human because you are a human being too. But what are the things we will study on the part of human in order to have a good human-computer interaction? Since we already know what we need to study on the part of the machine. Now, on the part of the human, we need to study the following. Communication theory. Human also communicate, we know that. And we have languages that we understand. That is why computers also have programming languages, which is the language they understand. So how will these two blend together? That human will be able to communicate to machine that don't understand English, that don't understand French, and they'll still be able to understand each other. Don't forget that the beauty of communication is that both parties should be on the same side, which is understanding, which means if you say something and I understand what you say, that's when we are communicating. If you say something and I don't really know what you're saying, I don't understand what you're saying, then we are not communicating. So how do we connect as human with machine when we have different languages? That is when communication theory of human will come in. Then graphic and industrial design disciplines on the part of humans too. Linguistics teach languages, social sciences, cognitive psychology. I've mentioned psychology before because when you are dealing with human, you'll be talking about psychology, philosophy, and the rest of them. Now, we'll talk about human performance too. So, if we should put them side by side, if you are asked to talk about 5 things or 4 things that needs to be studied on the part of machine and 4 that needs to be studied on the part of human. Let's say that is an exam question. On the part of machine, we already know that we will need to learn techniques in form of computer graphics, we will learn operating systems, we will learn programming languages, and we will learn development environment for the system. On the part of the human, as a summary, we will learn things like communication theory. Graphics is also on the part of the human. Linguistic is there. Cognitive psychology is there. That is the reasoning, how human reason. We need to learn that. And human performance, we will learn that too. So that is the overview of this HCI. Now, we can also learn engineering methods and designs under human aspect. This overview has given us pictures of the things we'll be learning in this material. So you see that this material is going to be bulky because on the part of machine alone, look at how many things we need to learn. So we have to understand at the end of this material, there is a picture you must know. You must understand machine fully, how machine operate, the communication theory of machine, the programming languages, the graphics, the operating systems, how they are developed, their development environment. You understand machine fully. So when you see a laptop, you are not just seeing a toy with a screen that people can use to watch movie or you can use to type, or you'll be seeing something else. You'll be seeing a robot. You'll be seeing something that has been designed based on some specific theories and the rest of them. And then when you look at human that is using the computer, you also know you may know some things about human already, but with this course, you will know better about human, especially in the aspect of relating to computers. If you don't know that you waking up every day, turning on your laptop and working for some hours, taking some rest, coming back to work, you are in relationship with your laptop. You have not reasoned it like that before. That is why. But you don't know that you're in a relationship with that your laptop is also your friend, it's also your boyfriend or your girlfriend. So which means you are interacting with it every day. So how to have a successful interaction with your computer is what this course is all about. That is the overview. Now, we say that the multidisciplinary nature, I'm here now, of this human-computer interaction enables people with different backgrounds contribute to the success or to its success. What this is saying is that if you look at on the part of the machine alone, we have several things to learn. And each of these things belong to different disciplines in the world. On the part of the human too, we have several things to learn. And each of them belongs to different disciplines in the world. Like the cognitive now is talking about reasoning and logic. We have philosophers to contribute to that. And even health, personnel. And then on the engineering part and design, we have engineers. So we have several disciplines that must help us in order to understand human and computer and their interactions together. So because of that, we have so many disciplines that have to contribute to the success of human-computer interaction. So it's not only computer science alone that will do all of the work. Several disciplines need to come in. You need to understand that too. Now, HCI is also sometimes referred to as man-machine interaction. We have other names in case you are asked in the exam. What are the other names for HCI? We have man-machine interaction, which is MMI, and we have CHI, which is the computer-human interaction. Now, that is the overview of this course. I hope you understand this. Can we move on now?
Yes, we can move on.
So let's go to the goals of HCI. We want to talk about the goals of this human-computer interaction, the goals of studying it. Why do we need to study it as computer science student, as infotech student? What's the necessity? Why don't we just allow it? Let human be using the computer the way they like, and let computer to be responding the way it like. Why do we need to study it? That is the goal or the goals of human-computer interaction. We want to know why we need to study it. A basic goal of HCI study is to improve the interactions between users and computers by making computers more usable and receptive to the user's need in the following ways. So if you ask for the goals, it has one basic goal, and that goal is to improve interaction. You don't need to cram everything. You see, you guys learned something in GST 101 and 102, how to take important points from a piece of writing or from a paragraph. When you see a full paragraph, it's not everything there that is important. Most of them are examples, redundancy, illustration, and the rest of them. There will be one single statement that tells you the main thing that the paragraph is all about. Like this whole statement now, the main thing you need to pick, you don't need to cram everything here for exam. You only need to know that the basic goal of HCI is to improve is to improve the interaction between users and computers. You have done justice to that. Improvement of interaction between users and computers. So you don't need to say in the exam when you are asked, you don't need to say a basic goal of HCI study is to improve the interaction between users and computer. You can just say that the basic goal, when you want to answer it, in order not to look like you are copying the material or anything, you can say the basic goal of HCI study is the improvement of the interactions between the users of machine and the machine itself, which is computer. But that is achieved in several ways. One of the ways we achieve that is methodologies and processes for designing interfaces in their related styles. You know what interfaces are already. This PDF viewer that we're using now is an interface. It's interacting with us. We are interacting with it. We can go up, we can go down, we can click on something on it. So all of these buttons and everything here is an interface for this application that we're using. So the methods and processes that are involved in designing interface and styles or interfaces and styles is one goal of studying HCI. We want to know how did they design this fine interface, what are the methods they use, and what are the processes it passed through before it became this beautiful interface. That is when programming will come to mind when we are doing this course. And so a further explanation says that is, given a task and a class of users, design the best possible interface within given constraint, optimizing for a desired property such as learnability or efficiency of use. This is just an explanation to the meaning of methodologies and processes for designing interfaces in their related styles. It means when you are given a style, you are given the raw data. This is how we want it to be. They give you a picture of what they want. You should be able to design it, come up with the interface. And that's what a programmer does anyway. What programmers does. Now, methods or techniques for implementing interfaces. The first one is methodologies and processes. The other one is methods or techniques for implementing it. The first one is design. You see, when you want to summarize this thing, what are the ways in which the goals of studying HCI is achieved? The first one is studying methods and processes for design. The second one is studying methods or techniques for implementing. Those are two things. The first one is designing, method and processes for designing. The second one is method and processes or method or techniques for implementing. Two things, design first, implementing. Designing it is just having it done. Maybe on your application or whatever you're using, or your IDE, you get the design done. But if you have not implementation comes in when you put it into action. So those are the two things. So we are going to learn the design of the methodologies, the methodologies and processes of designing the interfaces, right? That we're talking of the interface now. How, the interface is what humans will relate to on the screen of the system. This is the interface I'm seeing now that I am able to read on this PDF. So what are the methods they use in designing this PDF viewer? What are the processes involved in designing it? That is the first goal of human-computer interaction studies, why we study it. The second thing is that we'll study the implementation. After design, you want to implement what you have designed so that human can now use it and give you feedback. So implementation is the next thing. So we first start with getting methods and processes for designing. And once we are done with design, we'll go to implementation. And after that, of course, we'll talk about evaluating and comparing interfaces. For instance, after you've designed it, you've implemented it, so users are now having maybe better let's say meta access to it now. You have some group of people you have called to test the interface that you've just finished designing. That's implementation. And they started testing it, and some people are telling you, please, when I click on login, it's not responding on my iPhone, but it's working on Android. Or when I click on submit after creating a user whatever, the thing is taking me to another page instead of, you will see all those kind of things. That is what you are doing under evaluation. You now evaluate. We are going to learn how to evaluate and compare interfaces. So if this interface is not working well on iOS and is working well on Android, it means we need a new interface for iOS, because we can't use the same interface for iOS and Android. So during your evaluation and comparison stage, you will learn that how to adjust or how to create new interfaces that suit the different devices that will likely use the machine. So it starts from designing, it goes to implementing, it goes to evaluating and comparison, and then the next thing is developing new interfaces and interaction techniques. Just like I've mentioned in the last point, that if one interface does not suit one device, we need to develop a new one that suits that device. So that is, we are going to develop new interfaces and interaction techniques in this course, or that's one of the goals of this course. Or not one of the goals, one of the ways of achieving the goals of this course. The basic goal is to improve interaction. Don't forget, improvement of interaction between the users and the computer. But we can achieve it in the following ways. First of all, designing the interface and the styles. After designing, we'll go to implementing the interface. we leave implementing, we go to evaluating and comparison. After that, after we've evaluated and compared interfaces, it will lead us to creating new interfaces and interaction techniques. And of course, we are going to talk about that will lead us to developing descriptive and prescriptive models and theories of interaction. This will also help us in achieving the goal of studying human-computer interaction. And finally, design systems that minimize the barrier between the human's cognitive model of what they want to accomplish and the computer's understanding of the user's task. This is a very important point. You human that you want to give the computer, the machine, a job, you have an understanding of your job already. How will the computer adjust to thinking in your own level since you have different thinking faculties? You as a human and the computer itself. So there is a difference between the way we think. So we are going to learn how to minimize. It's not that the barrier will not be there. You can't do it. If that one is not possible, that the computer will be thinking exactly as human would think. No, the barriers will be there, but how do we minimize them? That's one of the goals. One of the ways we implement achieving the goal of studying this course. In summary, what are the goals of studying HCI? Or in what ways do we achieve the goals of studying HCI, which is human-computer interaction? First of all, is developing designs, or you can just say the methodologies and designs or processes for designing interface, or don't even cram anything. Just say the first one is designing the interfaces. The next one is implementing the interfaces. We move to evaluating and comparing the interfaces. Then developing new interfaces, techniques, interaction techniques. Then we'll talk about the descriptive and predictive models. And finally, minimizing barrier of the differences in the cognitive models. You don't need to cram it the way it is written here. You just need to know that this last point is talking about how to minimize the difference or the barrier, how to minimize the barrier in the difference between the human cognitive and the machine cognitive, which is the understanding level of the two of them. So we don't have time again in this first class. Do you want us to continue to research? We need to start a new class because this one is having less than 1 minute now. But I hope you guys are understanding so far. Is the class making
sense?
All right, so I'm ending this class now. You guys will join back with the same link so that we'll do research and get off this class. We have another class by 9. All right.